Hey Fae folk, welcome back and happy new year to everyone. First video of 2025 and it's already one that I'm so excited for. So we are starting the year out right on this channel. So to just dive right in, I made a 2025 doll bingo card and I am super excited about it. It's going to be something that obviously we are kind of revisiting every once in a while throughout 2025. But for today's video, we're just going over what all is on the card and exactly what I mean by a 2025 bingo card if you aren't familiar kind of with that concept. And yeah, I'm just really excited to share this with you guys. So to start out explaining what I mean by a yearly bingo card, I feel like this has been a thing maybe since 2020 on TikTok. I feel like it's gotten more popular over the years, where you'll talk about people being like, oh, this wasn't on my 2020 whatever bingo card, or you'll see it in comment sections. Some people have literally made bingo cards where they'll be like, oh, I think this year we're gonna get bingo if Yellowstone explodes or X event happens basically. And so I thought it would be really, really fun to do that same thing, but just for dolls. So this is my bingo sheet. I will have images on screen here so you can see a little bit better, but I just wanted to go through all of the things that I put on this bingo sheet. I did come up with these just by my little self. So some of them are kind of random. Some of them are a little bit easier than others. But yeah, I just thought it would be fun to try to preemptively predict things that might or might not happen within the doll world and put them on a bingo sheet. And if, I get a line of things that actually do happen, then I get bingo. It's a really silly concept, but I just thought it would be funny to have on the channel. And if something actually happens, if an event that I predicted actually comes to pass, I can, mark it off. As you can see with the orange, I've only marked off my free space so far. So let's go ahead and just dive on into what I'm predicting for 2025. So I'm just going left, right, top to bottom on this. First of all, we have Bratz makes new Playline dolls. I'm not counting the going out line just because that technically is available. At least most of them have been available for order. I know that most people aren't getting theirs yet, but I don't know. I just don't feel like that quite counts. But basically, yeah, I'm talking about a line like Always Bratz or the going out line from Bratz, just a play line level, new, not a reproduction line from Bratz. This one I think is almost another free space. I feel like it would be kind of shocking if they didn't make any more play line dolls this year. There are other ones on here that are plenty difficult to get, so I don't feel bad giving myself an easy one. But yeah, I think that we're gonna get new Playline Bratz dolls this year. Second one is an actually good mermaid doll comes out from a new or existing brand, and I know that that's subjective, but this is dolls. I feel to do a whole bingo sheet, it's hard to not have anything be slightly subjective. I just think as a mermaid lover and as a mermaid doll lover, for some reason, mermaid dolls are so hard for companies to get right. And oftentimes they are relegated to being more budget dolls, which isn't always a bad thing. But I just want a mermaid doll that really, really shines. So this one's kind of optimistic of me. I want to see a good mermaid doll in 2025. For all of these ones that are a little bit more subjective, I think what my plan is going to be is to poll you guys on the community tab to see if you think it counts for the bingo cards. So y'all will be a little bit involved in this process, just because I said, I know some of these things are subjective. I think that's kind of hard to avoid with the doll bingo card, but y'all are going to help me justify whether something should count or not. So if we get any mermaid dolls this year, eventually I will be asking you if it counts as good. Next, this one's kind of grim, but a doll brand is canceled. It happens, and there are a few doll brands that I definitely think are on the way out. I mean, LOL OMG is technically not officially canceled, I don't think. Same with Not Enough Surprise, but I mean, Not Enough Surprise has been clinging on for a while, so maybe they'll be fine. But OMG might officially get canceled. Rainbow High, I do feel is maybe in a tenuous place. I don't think they're going to be January canceled, but I could see that by the end of the year, maybe they're yeah, we're kind of done making dolls. So not necessarily a happy one, but I do think there's a decent chance that some sort of doll line is going to get canceled this year. So popped that on the bingo card. This one's kind of out of left field, this next one. I just I don't know. I just like had this thought and was like, okay, whatever, put it on the bingo card. Like I said, some are way more likely than others. I think Polly Pocket is going to get really, really big in specifically like the adult collector space. Not to say that there aren't already people who like Polly Pocket and who enjoy the fact that like it's available on the shelves and everything. I think Polly Pocket is going to like have some sort of release, or like there's just going to be a lull in other releases. And for a brief amount of time, there's going to be a weird amount of Polly Pocket like centric videos coming out and like posts on Instagram, and people are just going to be clamoring for Polly Pocket. I don't necessarily know that it's going to be for a long time, but like my random just out of the box prediction is that they're going to have a whole moment this year. I don't really see myself participating. I guess that could change, but like it's on the bingo card. And then lastly for the top row is that the G3 Cupid doll upsets G1 purists, which I'm such an asshole for putting that down. But like that's another one that's almost a free space. We do have like almost confirmation, like it's been leaked, that G3 Cupid is in the works and should have a doll coming out in the upcoming year. So like it's not that G3 Cupid gets released, because that's like basically confirmed. I just think that G3 Cupid is going to have a design that is maybe not even significantly different. It might be pretty similar, but I think it's just going to be different enough to where the G1 purists are going to be pissed off about it. And like, again, kind of like a free space, because I feel like every redesign someone gets really upset about. So I might ask you guys about that one as well and be like, hey, are they upset enough about it to count? That's just my cheeky little addition to the bingo card. Row 2 is starting off with another like pretty easy prediction, and that is that we are going to get a second wave of the Barbie Deluxe style dolls. I did do a review of 2 of them recently, and I really, really enjoyed those dolls. I feel like I'm seeing a decent amount of positive stuff on social media about them as well. So like, I'm hoping that they are doing as well as I think they're doing in my head, because I really did enjoy them and I want to see a second line. So this one's like wishful thinking. I almost said wish fulfillment, but I don't think that's quite like the right term. Kind of wishful thinking. I want to see a second line really, really badly. I think the first line's really cool, and I would love to see what they do with like a second round, especially if they added a Ken to the lineup. I think that would be so, so, so cool. So this one I am like manifesting. Like we're going to make this happen by putting it on my bingo card. I do think this is reasonably likely, just because if the sales are as well, or that's not grammar. If the sales... I cannot talk, apparently. I don't know why this is like not coming out of my mouth. If the sales for this line are doing as well as it seems like they might be doing, I feel like Barbie definitely will end up making more of these dolls. I'm just hoping that it actually comes true and I get to cross it off of my bingo list. Okay, so this next one I almost certainly am not going to get, because I do think that there has been like talks kind of behind the scenes about the fact that this is not going to happen this year. But I wrote that Monster High would release a doll of like a brand new G3 character. So not an old character, an existing character, not even like a redesign like Cupid, but like a whole brand new character. And like I said, I do think that we have gotten like some whispers, maybe tweets or something. I don't really know where like the sources of all this information comes from, but there are some like online rumors that that is not in the cards for 2025. Things could maybe still change, but like chances are this one will not be occurring. But I wrote it on the bingo card and I printed it out. So like, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. Like I said, there are some that are like less likely. I definitely think this one is one of the least likely like spaces on my bingo card. But also, it can't hurt to be hopeful and to put it on there anyway. So I left it on there. Then nextly, very simply, we have a new doll brand comes out, which is pretty self-explanatory. And I do think it's reasonably likely, just because we don't always see like enormous new doll brands come out. Like when OMG came out, I know that was a huge deal, or like Rainbow High coming out was a really, really big deal. It doesn't have to be something like that. Like it could be a tiny little thing, like the Style Bay dolls didn't make a huge, huge, huge impression. I mean, people talked about them because they were really like different and weird. But like not necessarily something that's like groundbreaking, changes the entire industry, takes up like entire sections of shelves. You know what I'm saying? Doesn't have to be like that. Just a new doll brand. I feel pretty confident that we'll end up getting this one. So that's another easier one to kind of compensate for my very, very low likelihood Monster High hopes. Okay, then we have Bratz announces Tokyo A Go-Go reproductions. They don't have to come out this year, but it's just like they're going to announce them. Obviously, if they do come out, like super, that's kind of like double points. But here's the thing with Bratz, is that I know they have in the past posted on their Instagram specifically and done like surveys for lines that people want to see come back. And sometimes they have adhered to that. and sometimes they have not. So this really is a toss-up because I feel like so many people do want Tokyo Go reproductions. Don't think I don't think that they won the last poll. I honestly can't remember because it's been a hot second. I don't think that they won the last poll. But again, Bratz doesn't always actually go with like who wins the poll when it comes to what lines they end up reproducing. And something in my brain, it's just like feeling that this is going to be the year of the Tokyo A Go reproductions. Like I said, whether that's like just the announcement and like they come out in 2026, or if it's going to be like they come out this year. There's just something in my head that feels like that is happening. So we put it on the bingo sheet. We'll see if that's accurate. And then lastly, for the second row, I'm going to have to start like talking less. I feel like I'm talking an awful lot and like it's just a bingo card. I'm just reading off. Anyway, this is another one that I will have to get your opinions on. But I put Barbie Core is fully back. And like, I think that that's the way that Barbie is swinging. I think that this is going to be like another easy like one to get. Not intentional. Like I just kind of was like writing stuff that I was thinking about. But yeah, I'll probably have to ask you guys if you think like I'm justified in marking this square off some point during the year. I feel like this is almost certainly going to happen because it really feels to me like Barbie Core is coming back in, and like that's kind of what Mattel is doing with their Barbie releases. So I'm hopeful for this one because I'm really vibing with like the Barbie Core moments. Okay, row 3. I'm going to be quicker. First of all, Pixlings changed their packaging. I love the Magic Mixies Pixlings. I say that so frequently on this channel. I think they're gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous little dolls. The size, the scale, and everything. Like, it's so cute. However, I know like the number one complaint, especially from adult collectors, is the packaging because it is a little bit wasteful. It's like very, very gimmick related. I do not think that they are going to get rid of the gimmick just because the Pixlings are like a subline, right, from the Magic Mixies Mixlings, or like a spin-off might be a better word. And the whole branding around the entire thing is like some sort of reveal gimmick. Like every toy, like that's kind of the thing. So I definitely don't think that they are going to suddenly make them kind of like regular Monster High dolls where you just see the doll and you just buy it. I don't think that's going to happen, but I do think that since it seems as though the wastefulness of the packaging is a really big complaint amongst adult collectors, and also I'm sure parents too. Like I'm sure that parents are kind of like, hey, this is not the vibe. So I think that they're going to adjust their packaging to where it is still in line with like the branding. It is still some sort of reveal gimmick, but I think they're going to try to change it so that they can kind of combat that criticism a lit. I'm stumbling on my words a lot today, y'all. I'm sorry. A little bit is what I was trying to say. I don't think that it's going to be anything like necessarily insane, but I do think that it's going to be a notable change in their packaging. So popped that onto the bingo card. And then next up we had Odile becomes the new standard Barbie face. This one is very much a like current theory. I feel like we are getting a lot more dolls with the Odile face sculpt, and it seems like so many people just love it. And I'm one of them. I think that it's an absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous face sculpt for Barbie. And so there is like the theory or like thought running around that perhaps Barbie is going to replace the Millie mold with the Odile face mold as being like the standard Barbie face mold. There's like a lot of debate about that. I could see it going either way. I could see Barbie being like, yeah, let's lean into this face mold that seems really popular, or just deciding to do something completely out of nowhere, or keeping Millie as the standard face mold for another year. Who really, really knows? But yeah, I just thought that would be a fun one to put on the board because I feel like it is such a prevalent theory that it's like, I think it could happen, also could not happen. So it's like a fun little balancing thing to put on a bingo square. Then we have the free space. And then lastly, this one, not lastly, sorry, there's 2 more in this one. This one's kind of a bummer, so I am sorry. I think that the Welcoming Committee Frankie is never coming out. That doll has, I think for 2 years now, or like a year and a half, something like that, kind of been teased. We got stock photos ages and ages and ages ago, and that Frankie was supposed to come out allegedly this past year for Pride, like back in June of 2024, and didn't end up happening. I know some people have like done their own research and like reached out to retailers, and there's no official cancellation that like I've heard of yet. However, I don't think this doll is coming out. I just think that they've gotten pushed back a lot. Like I said, we've had the stock photo for absolutely ages. There were times when they were allegedly supposed to be released and then they just didn't. And I think this is just one of those dolls that is never going to fully make it for whatever reason. I don't think that's going to happen, which is a bummer. Like I would love to see that Frankie get released. I don't know if I would buy them, but like I want to see them get released. I just don't think it's going to happen, unfortunately. So that's what I put on my bingo card. And then last for this row is a doll line is recalled. Personally, my money is currently on the creative crystals from Rainbow High because we've already seen MGA, like Umbrella Company, have troubles with resin products before. And given the fact that those dolls involve resin products, I just feel like there's a potential there. So that's like what inspired me to put this on the list. But just in case it's not Rainbow High, I did just say like a doll line or a doll or a line. Sorry, a doll or a line is recalled. I just have a feeling that whether it's creative crystals or not, there's going to be either a doll or like a whole line of dolls that's got some sort of gimmick or some sort of like choking hazard or something, and it's going to get pulled from shelves. Again, not like a happy one. I mean, even like the Wicked dolls would count with that misprint with the website. Something like that happening again. Yeah, I feel like within 2025, maybe something similar will happen again. Row 4 starts out with a kind of another bummer. This is a new record for the worst Mattel Creations release. This one is another one that's like kind of subjective just because I mean, what defines the worst? Is it when it sells out the quickest, or is it when like it's so obvious that bots got the most? Like it is kind of hard to define. So another one that I will be asking you guys for like opinions on, I guess I would say. But we all know that Mattel Creations, specifically with Monster High releases, is just an absolute nightmare to shop on. Like when people are excited for a doll, the dolls sell out so quickly, and there's like CAPTCHA issues, or like the fact that they don't ship to as many countries as they used to. Like there's a lot that is weird about shopping on Mattel Creations, and I just feel like at some point in 2025 there's going to be a release that like tops all of the others for being the worst release on Mattel Creations. Again, not a fun one, but like it honestly feels as though every year Mattel has some sort of horrible release on that godforsaken website. So the only question on this one, it's not a question of whether Mattel is going to have a bad release on the website. It's a question of whether it will beat like what people generally consider to be the worst. So again, I'll have to ask you guys for your opinions, but I'm anticipating some upset this year when it comes to Mattel Creation. And then we have this one's a little bit more hopeful, but also I think this is like one of the least likely ones on this list. Rainbow High releasing a Playline line without a gimmick, because since the reboot, since like Rainbow High has kind of done their little rebrand, they have not released like a single main line. Like I think that they've done maybe a couple. Yeah, I guess like the swim budget dolls didn't have a gimmick to them, but I'm talking like Playline, like standard release. They have not released one that doesn't have some sort of gimmick aspect to it. So my hopeful prediction is that they will just make a normal doll that doesn't have to have slime or cloud sand or whatever was happening with that winter line, or like the sparkle legs. I like the sparkle legs, but like I also would like to see a Rainbow High doll again that doesn't have some sort of gimmick. Again, I don't think that this one's likely at all, because that just really feels like the direction that Rainbow High is going in. But in an effort to be hopeful, I put it on the bingo list. Next one is also another very hopeful one, and that is that we get a Clanky 2-pack. I do feel like this one is kind of at odds with the Welcoming Committee Frankie prediction that I have. So like, I'm playing both sides because I do feel like part of what has held back the Welcoming Committee Frankie's release is Mattel being, I guess, like on the fence is maybe the nicest word I can use for it about their queer representation in their dolls, because it is like a pretty queer coded doll. So that's like the negative side of that. I'm hoping that Mattel decides to get their shit together and just be brave and just have the representation that they put into the generation. I think it's absolutely ridiculous, because it does feel to me a little bit like they like did that and then they're kind of like, oh shit, that's like, you know, there's some pushback on that. Let's like walk it back. That's like a whole other conversation. Sorry, I'm getting off on a tangent. On the hopeful note, though, I could see them walking it back and therefore canceling the Welcoming Committee Frankie. On the other hand, though, I really would love to see them, because like Clanky is a canon ship in the show for G3. Like Cleo and Frankie did go on their little date on the Monster Ball. I still haven't seen season 2, so like I don't know what's happening there, but like it's a canon ship. I think it makes perfect sense for them to have a 2-pack together with the dolls, and I really want to see that. So this one is definitely another one that's hopeful. I'm hoping that Mattel can just like not be a pansy and just let the queer people exist. So we'll see. Hopeful. We'll see. Next up, we have the Holiday Barbie is actually good for 2025. Which again is like a pretty subjective one, but like it's no secret that the Holiday Barbies definitely feel a little bit lower quality in more recent years than they have in the past. So, I mean, quality wise, I don't think we're going to go back to like the heyday necessarily, but I think it would be cool if the holiday Barbie for 2025 is like received with general acceptance or excitement, because like obviously there are still people who like the recent holiday Barbies, and that's perfectly fine if you do. Like, I'm not trying to shit on you or anything like that, but I do feel like they've been less popular, less well received. And so I think it would be cool if for 2025 we got a holiday Barbie that like was well received and that people enjoyed. So whenever that gets revealed, I will be asking you guys about your feelings on it to see whether I'm allowed to check that off or not. And then last for this row is a new fashion brand and Monster High collab. We have seen them collaborate with Off-White and then Harris Reed now. And so I'm predicting that some point in 2025, they're going to do another designer collab, whether that's like with an individual designer or like a brand like Off-White. I just feel like there's going to be another like situation that's kind of similar to those releases. This one I feel like is pretty safe just because, again, we've already gotten two so far. So it feels like it's something that they might do again, especially because at least like the Off-White dolls, I feel like it was mostly the budget, right, that put people off. Obviously, some people didn't like them, but I feel like it was mostly the price point. The Witch Weaver doll with Harris Reed, I think, did a little bit better for Monster High, at least off of my just observations alone. Obviously, I'm not like in the board meetings knowing the profit margin. Like, I even know like what that looks like. But it just seems like it maybe did better. I think they're going to try again. I don't know which designer, because like that's so far out of my realm of expertise, but I think they're going to do some sort of collab again. And then last row starts off with Rebecca Steam comes back any generation, whether that is Rebecca getting a G3 version of her doll or we get some sort of like collector doll of the Gen 1 version of Rebecca Steam. I just feel like she's a character that people are clamoring to see again. Like, people miss seeing Rebecca. Obviously, she's not the only one. Like, there are a lot of characters from G1 that people really, really want to get to see again, whether that is in Gen 1 style collector dolls or as like a G3 version of the character. But Rebecca Steam just feels like a very popular name. It feels like a name that a lot of people are like looking to see again. So I would be really surprised if we didn't get anything at all this year. Of course, as soon as that came out of my mouth, I was like, you shouldn't have said that. I don't know. It feels like it'll happen. I'm trying to manifest this one too, because I am also one of the people who would love to see another Rebecca doll. I'm open to like literally anything. So yeah, hopefully this one will come to pass. The next one, less exciting or less like optimistic. I don't think they're going to make any more Mycene dolls. I think that with the like collector Mycene, like not quite reproductions because they weren't like one-to-one, but like inspired by the original Mycene dolls. I feel like had that release gone better, and I mean, I guess again, this is something like I don't even know for sure that it didn't go that well, but I know people had complaints. That definitely could have been, and I guess still could be, the catalyst for Mattel making more Mycene dolls, whether that's like trying to bring the brand back, kind of like Bratz, where they're doing new dolls, or whether they're just doing reproductions, or whatever the case might be. I definitely feel like that could have opened the door. However, I feel like those dolls weren't received well enough for Mattel to want to continue doing that. I just think that, I mean, I've talked about my own personal complaints with the dolls. Not to say that they're horrible, but I do think that the quality on all of them is not necessarily the best for certain items. The boxes were unbelievably boring, and I don't even care about packaging 90% of the time, but just like for a collector doll especially, I feel like you have to put something into your packaging, and that was unbelievably bland, and then the price point was really high. I just feel like they seem like they were enough of a flop, not like an entire flop, not like universally hated, but I think it was enough of a flop to where Mattel will not put any more money into that. So very sadly, because I personally would have loved to have seen like them do well and to like see more Mycene stuff. But yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. I think Mattel is going to close the book on that chapter. Next up, though, we're kind of like bouncing between positive, negative. We're back on a positive now. I think fashion packs are going to make a big comeback. And this is another one that's like kind of subjective because like, how do I quantify a comeback? But I mean, obviously Barbie has like been putting out fashion packs. I feel like they're one of the only brands that has like consistently been doing fashion packs. But I do think that, I mean, we've seen in the past several years toy costs going up, and I'm assuming that that means production costs are also going up. And I think that fashion packs are something that companies can produce that like does cost less to produce than an entire doll. And it's something that a lot of people, especially again, like I'm more in tune to the adult collector community. Although like I'm assuming that kids would also like to be able to change their dolls' clothes. I just think that we're going to see fashion packs become more of a thing. Maybe like higher quality fashion packs with Barbie becoming more popular, or especially I know like I think Rainbow High is rumored to be doing a second line of fashion packs, which is wild because the first line, from my understanding, did not do very well, but like they might be coming out. I personally would love to see G3 Monster High fashion packs. I think that would be absolutely incredible to get to see because like we have so many dolls, especially of the same character. Like G3 is really making like a lot of dolls of the same characters. So I think it would be cool to see fashion packs instead of like whole doll releases. So this is another one that I'm like, I want to see this. So I'm putting it on the board. But I could see companies kind of moving towards that again, not necessarily like replacing doll releases with fashion packs, but just like kind of as an add-on, as like an extra way to make a little bit of profit. I just feel like that could be a thing and I'm here for it. So we'll see, I guess. Two more to go. The last one's kind of funny. So second to last is we get another brand reboot. I'm not really sure what this would be, but it has been like a very, very common trend that we've been seeing. I mean, I just talked about My Scene. Obviously, Bratz came back a little bit ago. Monster High came back, like Rainbow Bright, Strawberry Shortcake, we're seeing that sort of thing. La La Loopsy came back and went away again. So obviously like doll companies kind of routinely try to bring things back and see if they'll be popular with like a new generation or remakes or whatever the case might be. And I think that we're going to see that again. I don't have a specific brand in mind. I don't even know if I could think of one off the top of my head, but like it just is such a trend within, honestly, not even just the doll world, like remakes and sequels and reboots and live actions, and that's like a whole thing just in culture in general now. So I think it's very likely that we're going to see some sort of brand kind of come back from the dead and do like a little reboot situation there. And then to round out my bingo card, I think we're going to get Corpse Brides Collectors. And this has basically been confirmed. I swear to you, like I pinky promise. I pinky promise. I wrote that before the news went up on Instagram that we are supposed to be getting at least one Corpse Bride Collector doll in 2025. Like, I swear to you, I wrote that before. I'm not marking it off yet just because I feel like if I mark it off, then like they'll get canceled or something, just because the universe will be like, no, wrong. And I don't want them to get canceled. I want to see these dolls or this doll. It's not like confirmed whether it's going to be one or multiple, but I want to see this collab happen so badly. So I'm not marking it off until it is like official, until it's like, here are the dolls, here's when you can buy them. This has basically, like I said, though, already been confirmed. So that's at least going to be hopefully a start to my bingo card. I just thought that was so funny because deadass my first reaction upon seeing that on Instagram was like, my bingo card. People are going to think I'm cheating on my bingo card. I don't know. It was just funny to me. But yeah, that's the whole bingo card. I'm sorry. I feel like I've been talking for absolutely forever. I thought this was going to be a really quick video, but then I just blabbed. I don't know. Y'all know I do that. Hopefully it was fun for you though. So my plan is to just keep this. I have like a little cubby like down here out of sight on my I hesitate to call this a desk because it is tiny, but on the side of my desk, I have a little cubby. So I'm just going to keep my highlighter and this little bingo sheet in here. And then whenever something happens or like hopefully happens, I can pull it out and mark it off. And we'll just see through the year whether I can get a bingo or multiple bingos or how this will go. And this is just like a silly, goofy little thing to do. It's just kind of a funny game to play throughout the year. Feel free to make your own. I think this would be really fun for like everyone to play along. Maybe you like take these same things, but you shuffle where they're located. So we all have like the same items, but it's different on the bingo board, or like if you want to just create your own entirely. I just think this is funny and it'll be like kind of popping in and out of the channel. Hopefully some of this stuff happens so I can like bring it up, bring it out. But yeah, I just thought this would be a fun game to play with you guys throughout the year. Like I said, there's several that I'm going to be having to ask your opinions on. So hopefully look forward to that. But that's going to be it for me today. I'm done yapping. I do apologize. I'm so scared to see the length of this video, but hopefully it was fun. Hopefully this is like a nice, fun little start to 2025 for you guys as well. Definitely let me know in the comments what you guys think of my predictions, like which one you think is most likely, least likely, all of that fun stuff. I'd be very curious to see what you think of the things that I have come up with potentially for 2025. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day or your night, or whatever it might be, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye, guys.